Welcome to Grade A Fun Now. Yo, I got my green shirt. Boom. I'm gonna talk about this sticker t-shirt design. Orange, you glad to see me. Get it? Orange. Like an orange. Okay. So this is more of a design concept talk than it is a specific, hey, this is the tools that you need to use to do this sort of thing. Usually, if I design something, I usually try to get some sort of reference. So the orange you see, or which one? Which way is it? It's maybe this way? No, I don't know which way. But the orange you see and the shell toe Adidas, the shell toes, the shell toes. I'm not gonna make them specifically Adidas because feels like a violation of some sort. So I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. But I like the shape of them and I like the overall design. So I took that almost verbatim because harkens back to the old days of liking the hip to the hop to the hip hopper. You don't stop the rocket to the bang bang boogie. Okay. Let's get serious about this now. So after I go back and read all things, because I just want to solidify that what I thought of in the initial sketch is what I really want to do. This is sped up, by the way. I don't draw this fast. But I go back and I start rethinking, solidifying ideas that I think work and don't work. And more often than not, there's multiple drawing passes. So it's like the third. Well, no, it's the third drawing pass because I'll sketch it on paper, then I'll sketch it on a tablet, then I'll draw it again, and then I'll draw finish. And you can see I'm tweaking the arm there because I'm trying to create a rhythm and a flow. So from the finger pointing all the way up to the other thumb pointing at. So I'm trying to create like a rhythm and flow across there. So I'm not really talking about the rhythm flow yet, but I mean I'm gonna get there. Because that's all part of the idea of designing these funny little goofy gags is to pay attention to the shape language, basically the iconography, and to think about the rhythm and flow of things to create like the pleasing flow of visual information for all intents and purposes. So this here is just a breakdown of that. For all intents and purposes, the background plate is a square, and then for all intents and purposes, the shape of the character is a big giant circle, and then the angles on the feet make up a triangle, and that there's some smaller squares, so we're creating different sizes like small, medium, large, in addition to using repetition for the two squares on the face. And then even the exaggerated finger is another triangle, so it's another repetition. And in this case, we have a 1, 2, 3. Almost a 1, 2, 3, but the background square makes 4, like a 4, 2, 1, which is. But in terms of with the character, it's 3 squares, one circle, 2 triangles, and it's intentional. And you can see the arrows that are effectively designed to guide your eyes around, so you can look into the composition and then the flow of where the arm is, which is why I moved the thumb arm up so that you go to the rhythm of that. And then the eyebrows are tweaked specifically, so when you hit one eyebrow, you'll come off the other eyebrow, and then you'll flow through back to the triangle of where the finger that points out. And so there's a curvature to the finger so that the eye line from that will draw you back into the main guy smiling. So all those things are intentional design devices to force your eye to look where I want you to look. Anyway, this is now redraw number 3, and this is trying to make the line work as clean as possible and to use really nice thick and thin. I like thick and thin because it creates nice variation in the line work, and it makes it have a little bit of a flow, energy, and rhythm to it. So I do often spend probably more time than maybe really necessarily should. I could probably use a different tool so that I could tweak my lines so I don't have to keep redrawing them. But I do like drawing mileage. It's mostly because of the drawing mileage will help you to get better at your decision making, so that you don't have to necessarily rely as much on the tools, and having the tool be the thing that you're constantly using to modify the marks that you make. Because over time you'll get better at committing to, I'm drawing this mark, I hit this mark, I like this mark. And then it means you'll spend less time with thinking about how you want to execute your thick and thin. So that's of essence, is just trying to make sure that I've got control over my thick and thin. And it's not just following the lines though, because you have to still control the amount of pressure that you're making, and controlling the reflex of your thick and thin. And rarely ever do I go back and like redraw the lines. Like, I don't pet the lines, meaning I don't draw them and then keep touching them. I try to draw it and knock it out. And in this case, I move the eyebrow slightly, because when I convert this into a sticker, if that eyebrow is disconnected from any part of the entirety of this character, it means potentially that one little element will be separated from the sticker, and it'll be problematic in trying to get the consistency in making the sticker separate from like the transfer onto whatever surface. You'll have this one errant eyebrow, which is ideally not really that great, or there'll be a big giant potentially a big giant gap where either it'll be transparent or maybe printed out as a big piece of white transfer stuff for the sticker, which is just it's if that's the look you're going for, then it is what it is. But I try to make these really cool contained graphics that work for stickers, but also work for t-shirts as well. I decided, instead of just randomly deciding on colors, that I would sample from the picture reference. So for the actual color of the orange, it is the actual color of the orange. For the leaf, it's the actual color of the leaf. And it's not that I had to do it. I just didn't want to make a decision, right? I didn't feel like spending the time to be like, let me pick the right green. One thing that I like to do a lot, and it's not a necessity either, but I like to control the amount of colors that I'm using, and I try to either use colors that I believe would be analogous, or potentially part of a triad. So on the color wheel, you'll see a color wheel. I just want to do weird things just because. But you'll see on the color wheel where you can, find the color relationships. So I try to make reasonable, logical color decisions so that there's a certain pleasing palette. And the benefit of the software I use is that I can go back and change the color of stuff fast. So I'll usually draw things in one color, and because everything will have the same color, and it's assigned a slot in the software I use, it means I can just change the color of things quickly. And I'll go back and change the color of line work until it feels pleasing. And I'll do that sometimes a lot. But I'll draw it in either red or blue initially, just so that I can recognize where I am in the process of drawing things or designing things. And it's purely just so that I know when I open the file up later, like where I am. And if I'm still in the design process, it's probably going to be blue. If I've solidified things, the lines are going to be red. But if the lines have some other color to it, it means that I've committed to and I like the color of those lines. So that's the sort of thinking and thought process that's involved in why you'll see sometimes the line's blue, and then why the line is red, and then why the line gets changed into a color. It's purely just because my process, I like to be able to, as soon as I open a file, know what state I'm in. It has no bearing on anything other than that. And then I decided, man, I want to go through and I just slammed color on everything real fast. Initially I thought, maybe I should just make these flat color stickers. Then I thought, I said, nah, I want to put some gradations because I just like the idea of doing gradations because it has like value transitions, and it just, I don't know, makes things feel more finished, more finessed. If for some reason it just didn't print well, it would be quick and easy to take all the shadow stuff off. Yeah, because I always, for any of these type of things, I always put the shadows on a separate layer. So all this green stuff I'm painting right now is going to be effectively shadow stuff. And again, the process for the software I'm using means that I can do the shadows in whatever color I want, because then I'm just going to connect it to this node, and the node then turns it into a slightly darker overlay value. So it's like in Photoshop, if you work with blending modes, you can effectively make a blending mode where you would be able to do like an overlay and effectively change the value. And then I just made another layer for the glasses so I can create a degree of almost like a film over the lenses of the glasses, so to speak, so that it would give a little bit more depth. And then I decided I want to do something with the light side as well. And you'll notice that the cool part about it is that either both the shadow and the light are not insanely intense. They're pretty subtle, and it's just to create just a little bit of visual interest. And then if you've watched videos before, you'll know that I like to put highlights in as a finishing touch, because highlights are sexy. I shouldn't have whispered that. That sounded bad. That sounded pretty bad. I thought about adding more stuff to the background, and then I was like, nope. I'm just gonna leave the background as it is. Add just a simple gradation, and then I just added another. I took the cloud color and made a complete fill, and then I just did a lower opacity on that layer to create that extra bit of depth for separation. So, I mean, boom, that's how it goes down. You know what I'm saying? This is just the concept of how I build these things and how I make these wacky concepts work. I mean, if you have questions, you know what I'm saying, hit me in the comments. The comments will be down here. And like these things are available on Redbubble. So I mean, you can get them, cop them, and you can get them live in your hands, and you can look at them, analyze them, compare it to the screen, and be like, wow, the translation's wild. But other than that, man, I appreciate y'all watching this video. Subscribe, send it, share it with your friend. Hey, you could share, like, if you design something, you can share it with me. Go, hey man, check this out. What you think? I'd love to check it out.